There's about 3,000 of us, and we were all having lunch. How many of you, when you were walking back in, saw the free hug sign and got one? Let me hear the applause. How many got a hug? I loved it. I got 2 hugs, and they were fantastic. I love this day. Long before TED Talks were a part of our popular culture, I had Alex Talks with a little girl about life and inspiration and joy. Alexandra was my oldest daughter, and she was diagnosed with cancer when she was only 3 years old. Alex fought cancer with everything she had for 731 days. She made her very own to live list, swimming with the dolphins, camping in our backyard, learning to make snickerdoodle cookies, and planting a sweet pea garden. You know, Alex was bigger than life, and the disease she fought was so big, but when I look at her shoe, I'm reminded at how little she was. It was just 2 days after we checked off the very last box on her list, and it was to have a colossal root beer float in a frosted cup. Yeah, we all love them. And Alexandra, she died in our arms and in our home. And that was 20 years ago, this very month. Alex's life was short, but it was beautiful because she instinctually knew how to create the life she wanted to live, moment to moment. We called it the Alex effect because we felt the power of giving and getting and sharing joy, and it changed our lives. 20 years ago, no one dared talk about joy in the same breath as pediatric cancer, hair loss, or children's hospitals. Many of us know that hospitals were largely institutional, 24/7 TV, gray walls, in the business of delivering meds and medicine. And for families like mine who spent months and years in the hospital, I knew this had to change. You know, I was in a pretty dark place after Alex died, and I struggled with what would the next day look like, what did I want to do with my life, and how would I live the lessons learned. And I guess being Italian, you know, we make dinner and we open wine, and I invited family and friends around the kitchen table. And they dreamed with me about how we could make the world just a little bit better. And I founded the Children's Cancer Association in 1995 with a simple goal. Thank you. Thank you. We really had a simple goal, and it was how we would help kids with cancer and life-threatening illness harness the life-affirming power of pure joy, because we knew kids needed more than medicine. And you may be thinking, you know, why did this mission matter? And let's look at some of the numbers. Today in the US, cancer is the leading cause of death by disease for kids under 15. 1 in 330 kids in this country will be diagnosed with cancer by the time they are 20. Worldwide, almost 270,000 cases are diagnosed every year, and that is 720 kids a day. And it's not just cancer. There's over 10 million kids in the US that face chronic and life-threatening illness. As Kent said, it's a huge issue. They'll face serious, debilitating side effects of pain, depression, and anxiety. What Alexandra taught me, and what I've seen time and time and time again, is that even when a child's suffering is beyond imagination, a lifeline can be found by stringing together simple, beautiful, exquisite moments of joy. And that's what I decided to do for the rest of my life. I'm not a doctor. We don't treat diseases. There's a $30 billion cancer industry doing that beautifully. But my colleagues and I, we treat the impacts that kids struggle with when they're fighting for their lives. And we prescribe joy. One of the ways that we do that is through the healing power of music. And for our family, music was the soundtrack of our lives. And for all of us, music plays a pretty big role. I mean, who doesn't listen to music to run faster, or when we cry, or when we are remembering the ones we love? Who hasn't sat around the campfire and listened to music? It's awesome. Well, just like in the summers before cancer, we invited Alexandra's family and friends with their guitars and harmonicas and songbooks right up to the hospital room around her imaginary campfire, and we made music. And what we saw were other kids coming out of their rooms with IV poles, and doctors and nurses picking up guitars and singing with us. And we were a family again. And we took those very simple principles and created MyMusicRx, a music medicine program 20 years ago. And this program is so cool and so very simple. It lets kids select the music experience that's right for them. We have an in-hospital bedside program with a big mobile cart that goes room to room in every unit of the children's hospital, from the NICU to the PEDS-I to rehab to cancer. If they're there for any reason, music is there. And that has evolved to an online program that lets kids explore digital song prescriptions from artists, digital instruments, lessons, and games, anytime, anywhere. I'm super proud to say that this program has really taken flight and grown, and over the last 5 or 6 months, over 4,500 kids a day can turn this on in their hospital room in over 18 children's hospitals across the nation. So pretty cool. You know, what we've done for the last 20 years is be at the bedside of kids when they need more than medicine. And I want to introduce you to Jaden, who about a year ago was in a car accident and suffered a traumatic brain injury. And both her mother and twin sister died. You can see the power of a moment of music in her life.
And we're going to sing a song today. What's the name of the song again?
Take it off.
By Justin Bieber? No.
No, I hate him.
Me too. Who is it?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah! All right. Are you ready for this? Stay out too late. Nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. Go on too many days. But I can make them stay. At least that's what people say. At least that's what people say. But I keep cause the player's gonna play. Haters gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it out. Breaker's gonna break. Fake's gonna fake. Now I'm just gonna shake. Shake it out. I'll never miss a beat. I'm landing on my feet. That's what they don't see. That's what they don't see. I'm dancing on my own.
You know, what you saw there was the transformation of a moment through music. And it doesn't just touch the child or the family in the room, but it reaches out to the doctors and nurses and it reaches out to music lovers across the world who care about music. And it's what we call the joy effect. My daughter Alex lived the joy effect, and she taught me that when we give, get, and share joy, that it changes their lives, but it changes ours too. And my goal with CCA is that JoyRx will become a measurable and standard of care in pediatric care facilities, wherever kids are, across the world. We want to let kids be kids even when they're fighting diseases, and let them play when they need more than medicine. Because what we know that music is more effective at reducing anxiety than medication. And it lowers blood pressure and combats depression. And pediatric patients who listen to only 30 minutes of music of their choosing, Coldplay, Rihanna, Taylor Swift, they saw a reduction in pain post-surgery. We know music can have just a measurable impact on a child's longevity and on their emotional and physical well-being. And it's global, and it's scalable, and it's a powerful vehicle for delivering the joy effect. And that's why I'm pretty darn passionate about investing our resources and innovation and delivering more music to kids here locally, nationally, and around the world. It is so not brain surgery, it is simple. And kids are small, but their need for joy is great. Music medicine is one of the many ways that we deliver joy at Children's Cancer Association today. But what about tomorrow? We know that over the next 10 to 20 years, we will see huge advancements in our medical environment, and it will result in extended survival rates and non-human interactions in our care delivery. Consultations will take place with us remotely, anywhere in the world. Surgeries will be performed by robots. Our chemotherapy infusions will take place in our home and at work. And wearables will monitor our vitals every moment of the day. We will be wired. And while these are incredible advancements, will they help a child feel more supported? I believe wholeheartedly in the power of human interactions, high touch and face-to-face, and I think they're essential for our happiness. The vehicles and platforms that we will use to deliver JoyRx will evolve and grow, but the need for joy will not dissipate. I believe the real challenge for us is that finding that beautiful balance between technology and driving more human interactions, not less. How many of you have had surgery? It's pretty scary. Yep, lots of hands, pretty scary. I know that it was for me. But when we talk about connecting and increasing comfort and care in a hospital environment, one of those examples and things that we're thinking about is imagine if when you were being rolled into pre-op, you had the option to choose an acoustic guitar or a harpist to be playing live music while you were wheeled in. Pretty amazing, right? Or imagine if it was your child in a surgical suite having a brain tumor removed, and the power of live music connecting the anesthesiologist, the surgeon, the techs, the room, your child, and their healing. That is the joy effect at work. Through my daughter's example, I have come to see that the practice of joy, it changes lives, not only for kids with cancer, but CEOs and baristas and sneaker designers and truck drivers. It's simple to believe that joy matters, and it's not quite as easy to put it into practice. You may have heard that it takes about 6 weeks to develop a new habit, and we've all had some successes and failures in that area, for sure. You have to look for it, and you have to cultivate it, and you have to establish your own joy habit. You saw what it can do for kids with cancer. Imagine what it can do in your life. Remember Alex's to live list? What's on yours? Maybe it's an epic adventure or a hike, or the reason you came here to TED this morning was to be inspired about doing something different in your life. But whatever it is, start checking it off today. Because statistics say that 4% of us will not be here next year, and 1 in 3 of us will face cancer in our lifetime. So that means the person on your right or left or yourself will face that kind of diagnosis or already has. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? I get to go to a lot of birthday parties, which I love. And I have the privilege of attending a lot of funerals as well. And there's something that I've noticed, that at either of these celebrations, nobody ever talks about the person's job. They talk about who they were and how they made others feel. You know, when we think about a legacy, it is such a massive proposition to get your arms around. But when you measure your life in moments, what will I accomplish day to day, hour to hour, song to song? Suddenly it is so right there in your grasp, it is achievable. The joy effect is not about big, enormous things. It is about small, beautiful things, moment to moment. I am not in the business of predicting the future, but I am in the business of creating the future I want to live in, and so are you. Let's put the joy effect to work in all of our lives and across every industry. Because my experience over the last 20 years has taught me that joy grows exponentially when it's used collectively. Music heals, and joy matters. Thank you for making me feel so welcome. Thank you.